Hello, everybody. This is Wednesday, March 14th, 2018. This is the Kubernetes 1.10 release burndown meeting. I am Jay Singer-Dumars, your host and release team leader. And the agenda that we'll be following along with is available after the fact at bit.ly/kates110-burndown. And you can follow all the notes there. We're going to go through timeline real quick. Based on decisions yesterday, things have moved around some. So this week we're really working on issue triage and cleanup and resolution, trying to deal with some of the longer term issues that are tricky and also have lots of different moving parts. So there's some staffing things happening. So Sham is doing handoff to somebody. It was going to be Wojtek, but Wojtek is sick and not able to be part of the effort right now. So Sham is working on finding somebody. Mehdi is going to be on vacation, so 1.9 branch duties are being handed off to Joe Betts. And there may be some other shifting of people as we move forward, but that's the big stuff right now. Timeline for next week, again, there was a shift. So the end of code freeze is actually scheduled for Monday. That involves all the bits that we talked about prior. Won't go into detail there, but essentially sometime Monday we'll lift code freeze, and I'll notify the Kubernetes-dev mailing list of that. I put in here in the timeline for week 13 because essentially I want to have the 2-week view, and week 13 will now have the release on Monday, assuming that everything goes as planned. That will also involve the release of 1.11 alpha-1 because everybody's actually working against 0.0 right now. And the meetings that we'll have around the media stuff, and we'll do the handoff to the 110 patch manager and all that good stuff. Also for week 13 will be the retro, and that will be in place of the normal Kubernetes community meeting, or maybe it'll be an abridged Kubernetes meeting followed by the retro, depending on what that looks like. So any questions on schedule? All right, moving forward, metrics. Metrics are trending up slightly, which is not necessarily good. Critical issues right now are at 16. That's up by 2 since yesterday. We have a pretty good handle on what these are, but something I'm noticing is that they're starting to spread out a little bit in terms of effort and people working on them and such. So we'll have Josh go through a more detailed issue rundown here in a bit, but this is just the general stuff. Other types of tests and other things are kind of about the same. The open PRs, there's a whole bunch here that need some attention. I put in the release blocking label on one PR, and obviously the release block label is not really used by anything, but I just wanted to have it as a quick way to identify this one PR, which is the kubeadm test or the kubeadm stuff that depends on 110 branch. So, and we'll get that merged before 110 goes. And what else? So we've got critical PRs. I called out some things here. There's one that's in progress for the autoscaler env vars to kubeenv. That's in progress. Looks like it's being worked. There's the fix issue with race condition during pod deletion, which is number 61071. There's a failing test there. It looks like there's something to do with the pods not getting deleted or something, or the namespace not actually being deleted because there's a pod in it or something. So if anybody wants to look at the test for that and have more insight than I have, that would be fantastic. I'll paste a link in chat to that PR. Important soon, there's a few things that need LGTMs. One was ready to merge. So important soons are looking good. There's a couple of long-term PRs. If you're following along the agenda, one is ready to merge. It probably will merge today. And then the other one needs an LGTM. So I will post a link to that one if anybody wants to see if they can round up an LGTM on it. And that's pretty much it as far as just the general metrics and PR rundown. Any questions so far on that? All right, I noticed Sham has joined. Do you have any updates on who to hand off to?
Hi, yes. So, yes, I have a few updates like about these regressions in general. So, Wojtek, at this point, we're not very sure if he will be back to the office by tomorrow. I mean, he may be, he may not be. I'm actually discussing this internally with a bunch of other folks. And like, I have a potential candidate who might take this up. Like, his part of the project is called Anjay, and he said he might take up this bisection, but I will only be able to confirm this by tomorrow. I'll try to add him to the Slack, our Slack group. Till then, I will be doing till tomorrow. I'll be doing the bisection. Like, I'll try to probably finish 1 or 2 more rounds. So, yeah, this is still, I'd say, in the air for now, but hopefully I'll be able to give the update by tomorrow, or if Wojtek is back, that probably is the ideal situation. And regarding the other scalability regression, like the I don't know, 60500, I guess that's the one. The one with increased memory usage of API server and controller manager. So today I did quite some debugging along with someone else from instrumentation team, like Daniel from instrumentation team, and it's more or less resolved now. Like the issue with API server, the increased memory uses, that is already understood. Like I told earlier about this audit logging thing, and I sent the PR, and the PR is already in. That PR basically bumps the threshold for our scalability test. And yes, so that part is resolved. And the other part about controller manager, I've identified the PR, and we more or less know the issue already of why this increase is in controller manager. So maybe I can just quickly explain it. So there is this newly added component called Fluentd GCP scaler, which basically sets the resource requests and limits for the Fluentd daemon set based on some policy. And what happened was there was this PR which actually changed the scaler to look at the right Fluentd daemon set, which it was not doing earlier. So it actually started behaving as intended after this PR, which is when we started seeing this problem. So what happens is there seems to be, this is not completely understood yet, but like at a high level from the debugging we did, what we identified was the scaler is trying to patch the resource requests in the daemon set object continuously, and simultaneously the add-on manager is also trying to patch, probably because it's trying to reconcile the object with the manifest the add-on has, in which the resource request is not set. So there are these patches continuously, which is basically making the daemon set controller do a lot of work. So the effect that we are seeing is, so the increase in the control manager memory usage is because of the daemon set controller, which is basically in charge of the Fluentd daemon set. And what is happening is a lot of these Fluentd GCP pods are getting deleted. They're getting deleted and recreated continuously. And this is evident from the logs, like from before and after this PR. So the reason why it is being deleted is still unclear, but it seems that this delete, like all these delete calls, which the daemon set controller initiates for these kubelet pod, for these Fluentd pods, is preceded by calls by kubelet, which are putting the pod status. So that is pretty much all we know at this point. So I've spoken to Daniel, and one of the things that at least we need to fix in the short term to stop seeing this issue with the Fluentd pods being continuously killed and recreated is to change the scaler, like the Fluentd scaler component that he added to basically not make any API calls if the resource requests of the object hasn't been changed. And currently it is trying to do that continuously. And because of this, we're basically seeing this unexpected behavior. So yeah, I probably gave a too verbose explanation of this, but yeah, we at least understand where the problem lies, at least part of it. And yeah, hopefully this should be fixed soon. So for now, the course of action I plan for that bug is basically to file a separate issue for the flakes we are seeing. And that shouldn't be a release blocker because those are flakes we've been seeing for a long time, and that needs to be fixed in general. And for the performance issues itself, we fixed we understood why the increase in memory is seen for both API server and controller manager. For API server, like I even sent the PR, which basically bumps the thresholds. For controller manager, that needs to be fixed soon by Daniel, and I think we should file a separate bug because this sounds like a correctness issue as well, and that should be a release blocker. So yes.
Okay. So is there an issue currently for the secondary one that you're talking about? Is there any kind of documentation that we can flag as being release blocking?
Yeah. So yes. So I just spoke to Daniel, and I think he is right now trying to summarize our findings under a comment in that bug. So I'll probably be able to ping you once it's done. So yeah, we should probably move that to a separate issue, and because we now know that it's not really, I mean, it's related to performance, but it's an understood issue with the instrumentation code. So yeah, so there we are mostly good to go for now. And yeah, and this other main regression with pod startup latency, I will try to find out, and hopefully I'll be having an update by tomorrow.
Okay.
If not me, I'll try to make sure that someone else, probably Wojtek, responds to it. So.
Okay, great. And so tomorrow you're basically the last day in the office, as I understand it right now.
Well, today is my last day in the office. Like Thursday and Friday I move, but I'll at least make sure that there is someone to follow up on this bug. Like if it's not me, it probably would be Wojtek or Anjay, who probably might be able to take up this bisection. But yeah.
Okay. Great. Well, I'll look for more updates from you, and just you can send them in Slack, and I'll make sure that, or actually just do it in the release channel, and that way everybody else sees it too, so I know what's going
on. Sorry, was that I didn't get you?
If you can do updates in the SIG release channel, that'll help keep everybody online on the same page.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I can do that.
Great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You've really done some amazing work here.
Sure. No problem.
Okay. Mr. Burkus, do you want to give the update on the issues, and maybe so you still can't share your screen, right? Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Let me see if I can share mine so we got it.
Yeah. Now we haven't finished updating the spreadsheet for the morning.
Okay.
So it's not fully updated at this point. I'm trying to but some areas of particular attention. So we do still have one feature issue in tracking, which is a little troublesome because of a glitch with how we track issues via spreadsheets. Tim and I have not been nagging the feature owner. That's that scheduled daemon set pods feature. We have not been nagging the feature owner the way that we did every other feature owner during the early stages of code freeze. So my general thinking on this is I'm waiting to hear back from Klaus and SIG Scheduling, who seem to have been doing all the work on this. And unless what they say is, oh yes, we're almost finished, we'll get this in by tomorrow, that the answer is to bump that. Because there are still 2 technical PRs and a doc PR open on that feature, and we are, way past feature freeze, and the beginning of code freeze, etc. And yes, we weren't nagging them, but on the other hand, nagging should not be required to meet the deadlines.
Yeah, can you CC me on any communication you have with them, just so that I know what's going on there? Because I'd also like to understand if it gets yanked, what already is in the code base that might be depending on the things that are out there.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that is the next question, because they did actually commit 1 PR out of that.
Yeah.
Mind you, that 1 PR was committed a while ago, so it's been in all the tests, etc. So
yeah,
It looks like the PR that's referenced now was opened 10 hours ago.
there's a second PR that was open 6 or 7 days ago, which is still open, and then a couple of things that are committed. So
Okay.
I'm just trying to get an idea of the status of this, because yes, they're still doing work on it, but the work appears to be targeted at completion some point a couple of weeks from now, which is obviously not going to work for 110. But I have not heard back. Where I've posted is actually the SIG scheduling mailing list and SIG scheduling Slack. I haven't pinged SIG apps about it because I haven't seen anyone from SIG apps actually working on this particular issue. So even though they're cited there as ownership, I don't think they're actually working on it. You just heard from Sham about all of the performance things. Upgrade, downgrade things. One of the reasons that we increased the number of issues is that Jordan reopened some of the upgrade, downgrade bugs that we thought were closed, because his tests are failing again. And he's got several PRs open to basically not run certain tests that are expected to fail, I guess.
To be clear, these were upgrade tests that never stopped failing. The issues were incorrectly closed because people saw them passing in master and didn't realize that the issues were related to the upgrade tests.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. So we're going on with those, but we have not effectively we haven't closed any of the upgrade test issues that have been failing for the last week and a half. They're all still open. And then I haven't gotten to the stuff on the bottom, most of which we expect to actually close. That's pretty much, those are pretty much all the things. We've got some miscellaneous errors. PVC. So the issue with the PVC blocker on downgrade, the solution is going to be manual workaround with documentation. So several people are working on writing up what the downgrade procedure is, the manual downgrade procedure, which will be linked to the release notes. And then we need to somehow incorporate that into a test. Because
helps, Josh, I don't know if you saw, but I added the doc information to the Burndown notes.
Oh, cool. Okay, thanks.
And it's actually under the issue. It's not in the documentation section, since that seemed more useful.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and I shared that with the ad hoc group of people who are working on that particular issue. So we should get something for that soon.
Cool. I might ping you separately after this.
Josh, thank you for the cat herding and all this. I have to say that I'm feeling a little bit nervous about the level of
I mean, honestly, like I was looking at this and I was saying, how could we not be where we are now? And the only thing that would not put us where we are now is being really hardliners about getting all feature issues closed on the first day of code freeze.
Yeah. But even that, I mean, these failing tests and whatnot, the upgrades, I think that in the retro, we need to talk about getting upgrade, downgrade tests running way sooner in the release process. That is, this happens every single time, every time.
I mean, I think we have two issues there. One is that we don't run the upgrade tests until code freeze. And then the second issue is this business about needing to patch the previous version's upgrade tests in order for the previous version's tests in order for the upgrade tests to pass. And we need to come up with some methodology that doesn't involve that, because it's a lot of extra work, and extra work means extra delays.
Yeah.
To clarify, so we run upgrade tests like all the time, like from the previous release to master. That's like always running. It's just like nobody is looking at it until release start. And normally there's the upgrade itself will be failing like the entire like of the time until release start, and we like see, hey, it's not updating anything. So it's not even updating the master or cluster. So the first step is to like check down why it's not updating. That might take a while. And like after a week or a few days, then we fix the actual upgrade issue. Then like we will see another ton of actual test failure after the upgrade. If we can have like a dedicated person like for each release, just like even before release, just keep an eye on the dashboard and open issue if the test is failing. That might help, at least for the next releases.
So we should definitely get that in we should capture that feedback in the retro. Send you, if you haven't done so already, can you maybe write that down in the retro doc? Because I want to fix this as much as possible. And it's kind of tricky.
Is there a link to the retro?
It's in the meeting minutes at the end of every single meeting minute. It'll say retro doc, but it's bit.ly/kube110retro, all one word.
Oh, and one more thing I'd like to add is just like these upgrade downgrade tests, like scalability also is something which quite frequently for each release ends up seeing some kind of regressions, and often like these are like big enough regressions that they do end up taking some amount of engineering time out of the quarter just to get rid of these regressions. So like on a side note, I actually wrote a design proposal to introduce some processes to like some formal scalability processes to basically avoid these situations that regressions get in at the first place. And if they indeed do get in, like how do we get them to be fixed like as soon as possible? Like let me actually share a link here, but this is something we definitely need to think about, because yeah, I just did it. Yeah, we probably, like one of the problems with scalability we are seeing right now is the scalability effort itself isn't scaling really well. And like there are not many people who are actually actively involved or who have like the, let's say the expertise to be able to, there are probably a few people who have the expertise to do this, but they're busy with a bunch of like they're probably busy with a bunch of other things as well that they are not able to find time for this. But in general, yes, we definitely want to avoid the situation that we try to get past all these regressions in the last 1 month of the release. Or
yeah, agreed. And Correct me if I'm wrong, Josh, but I think scalability has been difficult getting people, just generally speaking, to pay attention to this.
Yeah. The on top of the fact there's only a handful of people who actually seem to have access to and understand the test infrastructure. There's also, both from not that many people working on SIG scalability, and then on the other hand, the people on the SIGs that the features belong to don't necessarily have an understanding of performance. So, in other words, these would be hard problems to work on regardless. And when people, are not 100% available, then they just don't make progress.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Josh here. So, one of the things we probably will need before we start scaling is that we find more people and we actually spread this specialized knowledge about how our testing infrastructure and in general how our performance tests and things work. So this I guess is a bigger organizational problem.
Yeah, I think this needs to be surfaced. I mean, obviously we'll surface this in the retro, but I think this is actually a project risk because as more enterprise customers start going into Kubernetes, we're going to see more and more edge cases around scalability, and I want to make sure that we're not creating a situation where Kubernetes fails because we didn't have enough people paying attention to this problem.
Yes, definitely. I totally agree. I also in part do not want to be I basically don't want to make myself a super strong dependency for releases, because it does hurt me to get along this fact that I am actually kind of becoming like a blocker for the release. And if we had more people, this would have been much better and probably a smoother effort.
Agreed. No, that's and Shyam, I understand that you've jumped into this sort of the last minute, and I appreciate that. So if there's any kind of air cover we can provide, or if there's somebody at Google that you want me to just kind of touch base with and kind of let them know that you've been doing this, I'm happy to do that. And that goes for anybody who's working on this release. If you have somebody that you're, that is your line manager or somebody you want me to talk to and just give them personal appreciation for the time you're devoting, I'm happy to do that. So that stands for everybody.
Cool. Yeah.
All right. That's a big deal. We'll handle that. All right. Sen, do you want to give the rundown?
Okay. Let me see. So where's my note? One good news is the GKE Zero Suite back to green. And the both the GC0 and the alpha feature are blocking on the daemon set features. Looks like both of them are assigned to the K82CN, but he didn't actually give an update last night. So he's in China time zone, so I'll probably need to chase him down either late afternoon today, see if he can give a update on those two issues.
Yeah, well, I already pinged him in SIG scheduling, Slack, and mailing list.
Okay, thanks.
Just in case, for example, he's now on, he's now unavailable and somebody else from SIG scheduling needs to make a decision on those.
Yeah. I also pinged Janet, and she's also on a business trip. So, yeah. Other than that, one other update is I'm working on a kubemark pre-submit fix to make it not trying to reboot kubetest after 24 hours. This is not blocking master, but it's blocking 1.7 and 1.8 branches, which is using a different Go version and cannot compile kubetest. once this fix goes in, it should unblock those 2 branches.
Actually, with regard to this QMark, like one of the things, like one of the ideas I had in my mind was maybe we are fine with disabling these tests, disabling the QMark test against those release branches, given all this. I mean, I agree that it's not the most ideal solution here. I mean, if you're able to get your fix working, then that's actually great. We probably will be in a much better situation. But if by any chance that doesn't work, because I see kind of a few key dependencies there which might not work when you move that stuff to kubetest. So in that case, we might want to consider like just not having it as a blocker for the.
Yeah. So what I did is I pushed a new kubekings image last night so that it's not going to pull it at least today for 24 hours.
Okay.
And I also added a QMark pre-submit canary job, which
that's actually a good call.
Which will use my image. I'll make sure that job goes to green, and I will flip the actual release job to use the new kubekings.
Okay, if that works, then that's perfect. That'd be really great.
I'll give it an update by end of today.
Great, thank you so much for doing that. And have you been in touch with the branch managers just to make sure that they know sort of what's going on there?
Yep.
Cool.
For upgrade suite, I think no updates there. I think we are still going to backport some fixes back to 1.9 so that at least for this release, upgrade test can get better signals. But maybe we need to discuss further, like in future releases, we want to mark certain tests to be it's fine to fail in upgrade, or we have a list of skipping tests in upgrade test. I add a item in retro.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I would like to see us have a little bit more granularity on the tests and to be able to disable them if a backport is required. Okay, documentation updates. So any documentation updates from you, Jennifer?
I put some stuff in the notes. I should have known not to be too gleeful about things. We're getting a few odd, PRs against the wrong docs branch, which we understand. It's confusing. Fortunately, we don't have a flood of other docs PRs this week, knock on wood, which means it's easy to catch the problems. Related to the PVC protection downgrade issue, I started pulling at the end of a tangled sort of ball of yarn there. I think since I put that note in the docs, I'm going to leave it there, but I think I've got the right people identified. They've weighed in on the downgrade issue PR, but there's more stuff in the docs that needs to get cleaned up if we are really going to explain to people what's going on there. It's not really a risk, but I'm needing some help with it. And it's my understanding that we're simply at the documented stage of things. That's issues not going anywhere for now, right? I'm just confirming what I've been hearing.
Wait, I'm sorry, I didn't fully understand the question.
Sorry. Up to this point, I've been tracking docs issues and feature tracking spreadsheet. It's starting to look like I'd better track a few other things like that downgrade issue.
Yes.
Because
that one for sure.
It's not resolved yet. If there's anything else that looks like it might remotely need a known issues fix or anything like that, if you could please just tag me, it'll help.
Okay, great. And this is something too, I need to put in the retro doc. We don't have a good consistent place for documentation related to known issues.
Right. And this is something that we kind of started making up as we were going along for 1.8 at least. So I've seen it through 3 releases now. And we're basically doing the same thing here for 1.10 that we did for 1.8 for a different issue.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm thinking Nick and I are going to brainstorm a bunch about things we can do differently, sort of words related going forward. I say that every release, right, or the 3 that I've been involved with, but we're making progress.
Yeah, I mean, increments.
Somebody opened a tracking issue for us, like on the release team to report anything that looked like it needed
we've done that. You're right. I completely forgot. That helped.
Somebody opened it, but then no one was using it, and it closed.
Wait.
Oh, okay.
The known issues tracker got closed?
Yeah, because nobody was posting anything.
Crap.
No, we leave it open until the release goes out. There are unknown unknowns at this point.
Yep. I mean, my recollection for 1.8 anyway was that thing got populated like, the last 3 days.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
And that's what it's for. So yeah, I guess we need to reopen it, get this in there. And maybe that's a better place to put my questions too. I don't know. I'll see how the conversation shapes up. I mean, this isn't a blocker. Worst case scenario, we'll fix up the related documentation, not the known issue specifically, but the related stuff that's confusing. We can fix that up after the release. That's,
Sure.
a good thing about docs. But I just want to be sure to track it, because if we're going to help people fix this, I think we need to help them in some other ways too.
Okay, thanks for reopening that, Sen. I'll put that on my list of daily things that I look at, just to make sure it doesn't close.
Likewise. And is Nick on the call?
Nick is in a webinar right now, so he's not going to be able to attend.
I knew he was in the webinar, and I couldn't remember exactly what the scheduling was like. I'll make sure to circle with Nick about that too, in case there's stuff that we both need to touch.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. And he basically said that in his update that the user or the release notes are in progress. Things are moving along nicely. People are contributing where they need to help edit. There'll be some more edits done today. And if anybody else wants to peruse those, I'm going to spend some time combing over those myself, just to see what's in there, if there's anything I can help with. But more eyes, the better, because right now there's quite a bit of stuff in there that needs some triaging, wordsmithing, etc.
I can comment on that. I don't know what it looked like in previous releases, but we put out the call yesterday for, hey, we need clarification on the following things, because you don't want us to be making it up and trying to assume what you meant on whatever issues were not completely clear. And over the last 24 hours, we've got about a 70% turnout of people responding and putting in their clarifications. So seems pretty good to me, but I don't know what it's looked like in previous releases.
I think I've said this before, and I'll stand by it. I think the whole RealNotes thing is looking way better for this release than it has for the previous 2 anyway.
Fantastic. And it's, no small part due to a lot of human effort here. That's really appreciated.
Yep, you guys have been doing awesome.
Okay, let's see, what next? Does anybody else have anything that they want to add? I think marketing is basically looking good at this point.
I made a PR for thawing code freeze, but and I added some instructions so that someone else can do that.
Oh, great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I saw that. Your band probably will do it like next Monday.
Yeah, don't do it now. Nobody wants a surprise thaw, except maybe here on the East Coast where we're having way too many code freezes.
So I actually have a question here, which is, when are we going to make the go, no-go decision on code freeze thaw? Will that be on Friday?
Probably Monday. I was pretty ambiguous about when we'd release code freeze on Monday, intentionally, so that we basically can wait till the last responsible moment. If we need another day, we can just push it off until Tuesday.
Okay.
My big concern right now is that there's a lot of people as sort of blockers in this process right now, to get these threads wrapped up. And That's going to be it's going to be hard to coordinate all those things and make sure that we get eyes in the right places before Monday. And so I kind of half expect Monday to not actually lift freeze, but we'll see.
Well, on the upside, almost every SIG is involved in something that's still open for 110. Spreading the love.
Boy, that's an optimistic viewpoint. I had never imagined that such a thing could be viewed optimistically. Okay. Wow. All right. So anybody else have any fun things to share before we adjourn? All right. Let's keep on keeping on. We're in the home stretch. We just need to keep on this and keep tracking all these things. Stay tuned in the release channel on Slack. Any updates for the group that happen interstitially, please do so in that Slack channel, and we'll stay on top of these things. Thank you so much, everybody, and have a good rest of your day. And I'll see you tomorrow at the same time.
Thank you, Jace.
Thanks.